Welcome to Second Chance Youth Ranch TV. I'm your host, Perry Black, and on this program, you don't want to miss it. Our special guest, Dr. Martha Whitfield, who works in the trenches helping young people that have been incarcerated and seeing their lives turned around. We'll be right back. Welcome to Second Chance Youth Ranch TV. I'm your host, Perry Black, and on this program, we have Dr. Martha Whitfield.
Hi.
And I just want you to know she is a rock star, and we're giving out autographs at the end of the show. Dr. Whitfield, tell me a little bit about you. I happen to know you pretty well.
Yes, sir.
Because I happen to be your pastor.
Yes.
Possibly on occasions, I'm even your pester.
Maybe, just a couple times though.
And your husband, Jawanza, works at Arkansas Christian Academy, so
Yes,
I
sir.
see him 5 days a week right here on campus.
Yes, sir.
And you actually only work probably 2 to 3 miles from here.
Yes, it's about 3 miles from here.
So before we find out about you personally, tell me, where do you work?
I work at Arkansas Juvenile Assessment and Treatment Center.
Okay.
I'm the district principal for Rite of Passage, Arkansas, so I oversee that site and 3 other sites in Arkansas.
Now, a while ago, I referred to you as Dr. Whitfield, and I've got a spot right here. Can you take a look at that? Is that kind of doctor you are?
Not that kind of doctor.
What kind of doctor are you?
I have a PhD in educational leadership with an expertise in gangs.
In gangs.
Yes,
and
sir.
I happen to know that there have been times, and probably still are, where you travel nationally and talk about gang-related issues,
Yes,
correct?
sir. Yes,
Not
sir.
too many years ago, you were in Chicago.
Yes, sir.
So tell me a little about you and Jawanza. Anyone that happened to miss the show that I've had with Jawanza, tell me about you guys. Where are y'all from? You're not from Arkansas.
No, sir. I actually met him in Virginia. I am from Virginia, and my family is in Virginia.
Where at in Virginia?
Around the Richmond area.
Now, isn't that kind of the birthplace of America?
Yeah, it's the capital of Virginia, but it's close to Washington, D.C.
Yeah, very close
Yes.
to Washington, D.C.
Yes, sir.
And so tell me, what were you doing in Virginia?
I was teaching theater and
In elementary school?
high school.
High school. You
High
were a
school,
high
yes.
school?
High school theater teacher.
Well, I think Jawanza does that here at Arkansas Christian Academy.
He does, he does. He has really good lesson plans.
I wonder where he gets those. So can we talk about the dynamic of your family? You
Sure.
mind doing that?
Not at all.
People that watch Second Chance Youth Ranch TV, number one, they're up late at night. So they need to know about you and the opportunities they have and all the myriad of God's wonderful creation. Tell me about the dynamic of your family. You guys were from
Yes.
Virginia. You're now in Arkansas.
Yes, well, we moved here because Jawanza's dad got sick. So we decided to come here to kind of help out their family. And when we came, we had our oldest, who was already living off by himself. And we had Aaron, who was 4 at the time,
Yeah.
and Simone, who was 1.
Yeah, little.
And we got here and became involved with Family Church Bryant.
How did you find out about Family Church Bryant? There's people that watch me on Mondays and Fridays
Yeah.
on Victory Television Network. How did y'all find us?
Well, I was really anxious about the move because I was leaving my family, and part of my anxiety, I do lots of research.
Yeah,
You know, I try to learn as much as I can.
because you're an educator.
I am, that's what I do. So I was Googling churches in the area, and Family Church was like the 3rd or 4th on the list, but I love the name. So I
Yeah.
clicked on it and I read about it, and I just knew it was going to be our home.
You love the name. You know what's funny about that?
Yeah.
When the Lord really laid the name Family Church on my heart, you know, a lot of churches were family worship centers and Christian centers. And I called my board and I said, Family Church, that just sounds so vanilla. It sounds so plain. And my CPA, who was on my board at that time, he said, but Perry, that's who you are. You're about family. It
That's right.
describes you perfectly.
That's right.
And Family Church. And it just so happens when we founded the church, June the 20th, Father's Day of 1990, it seemed like a move of God throughout the nation. Churches that were Christian centers were changing their names to Jubilee, Family Church.
Right.
It was a real move of God about the family dynamic. But that's what drew you here.
Yes. In fact, I knew it was going to be our home church before we even got here. But Jawanza and I had made an agreement that we were going to visit 3 churches before we made a decision.
Did you make all 3?
No. We did one and decided it wasn't for us. We came here second, and the next Sunday was meet the pastor. So we were like, okay, well, we'll just go back next Sunday so we can just meet the pastor, because it's a good opportunity. Yeah. And we came back and we ended up signing up that
Even
day.
after meeting me, you stayed?
We did.
You're so sweet. Yesterday, I'm looking at some messages on social media to me, and a lady who visited Sunday, just a few days ago, visited with her grown children, and she was going on and on about how when she walked in the door, how friendly everybody was. She had visited other churches. She said nothing about other churches, but she said, I feel like I fit here.
Yeah, that's how we felt.
That's the God thing.
Yes.
And that's not a derogatory statement about other churches, is when you belong somewhere, you need to get planted and blossom where you're planted. So we're going to learn more about you and your ministry to hurting young people. And we're going to take a break and we'll be right back.
I grew up on the streets. I grew up sleeping on the streets and sleeping on the rocks, and I provided food for my brothers and sisters and put my own life out on the line for my brothers and sisters. And every night it was abuse. Every night it was mental abuse and spiritual abuse, saying God doesn't love you. I never had a father figure in my life. Whenever one did come into my life, he was on drugs or abusive or mentally abusive or abusive in any way. My mom left us for drugs and went back to California. It hurt a lot. I cried a lot over it. Still do at times, but I pretty much said, like, there's no really point in me living. I mean, what is there for life for me? Going in the water and coming out, I felt the old me was gone. I was connected, like, with something bigger than I ever thought it would be. I mean, it was beautiful. So I started reading little bits and pieces of the Bible, and I started going to church more often, to the services more often, and it felt like the picture was getting clearer and clearer and clearer. And after 1 week of camp, it was like the clearest. Not even Windex can make a clearer window. I mean, it was unbelievable. A small group, we were talking about God is your father, and he's a father that you can't escape. And he's not a father that's gonna leave you. He's there forever. And I never looked at it in that perspective, and now I'm like, that's a father. Like, that's someone that I can look up to no matter what I'm going through. That's someone I can trust and put my faith in. For the longest time, I had no faith, I had no trust, I had no home. I felt like there wasn't nothing for me in life. Now I feel like there's such a big purpose to my life that it's unbelievable. I just talk about what I've been through, what I've seen, and the way that God's working me, and the way He's trying to shape me, and from how I used to be, and the way He's shaping me now. I mean, the person I am now is, the old me would never predicted it. Like, I never thought I was ever gonna be good. I never thought I was gonna do anything good with my life. Every day I walk out, they're not done yet. They're not done yet. I'm just waiting for them to build this new campus, and to me it means a lot. I mean, just spreading the word to the kids, spreading the gospel to the kids that have been through the same things I've been through.
It's awesome to be able to see the building, just the construction site in general of just Queen Creek going up, and say, hey, you know what? There's gonna be lives that are touched and changed at this site here. And it's already happening. And so I just can't wait to see what God has in store for the future here.
Hey, welcome back. On this program, if you're just now joining us, is Dr. Martha Whitfield, a personal friend of mine. And that's saying a mouthful when you're in the church and I'm still your friend.
Yes.
And Martha, you also, with your educational degrees and experience, you also have helped me in years past at Arkansas Christian Academy.
Yes, sir.
Prior to taking your current position.
That is right.
And one thing I love about highly educated people, and you qualify, is you guys are gifted to see a need and to create an organizational structure to break that down and meet that need.
Yes, sir.
And shortly after you were here helping me in the administrative team at Arkansas Christian Academy, during that period of time, prior to taking your current position where you're at now, we're going to talk more about, you and Jawanza and your family served as emergency or respite house parents,
Yes,
relief
sir.
house parents
Yes,
at Second Chance Youth Ranch.
we did.
So your love for hurting young people runs very, very deep,
Yes, sir.
very personal.
Yes, sir.
And somehow through all that, y'all have adopted some kids
We have. We've adopted 2 girls
from Second Chance
from
Youth
Second
Ranch.
Chance. Yes, sir.
And they're how old now? How old are the girls?
20 and 17.
Is the 17-year-old still here at school?
Yeah, no, she's not here. She goes to Bryant.
She goes to Bryant
Yes,
School.
sir.
Both the girls went to ACA for a while.
Yes.
But now in your current position as a mom, an adoptive mom, a grandmom, what do they call you? What?
Mimi.
Mimi. Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
How did you come into your current position, and tell me again what that is?
Okay.
Break it down for the learning impaired here,
Okay.
and tell me what you do. Because you're not a state employee, are you?
No, sir.
It's a private organization.
Yes, sir. I work for a company called Rite of Passage.
Rite of Passage.
It's a very large company. We have sites, I think 52 now, all over the United States. All the sites are geared toward populations of hurting children. We've just opened a site in Honolulu for girls who have been sex trafficked and are in DCFS custody. We've got schools, we've got residential facilities, we've got group homes, and actually we're about to open a substance abuse treatment facility for teens in Louisville.
Wow. In Louisville, Kentucky?
No, Arkansas.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Where is that in Louisville, Arkansas?
It's near
in
Hope.
Down south. When you said Louisville, I was thinking L-O-U, but it's actually L-E-W-I-S.
Yes, sir. Yes.
I think that's down around Ashdown and down northwest.
Maybe. It's right on the border of Texarkana.
Down around Texarkana, where my daughter is a public school
Yes.
teacher. I was just down there this weekend. Got a few grandchildren down there too. So, when you are dealing with at-risk youth here in Saline County, those young people are incarcerated.
Yes, sir. All the students at the 4 other facilities have been adjudicated and are serving time.
All right, break that down. Adjudicated.
It means they've been to court, been tried for a crime, been declared guilty, and they receive sentences.
Are they under 18?
Yes.
Okay.
We do have some youth in our care that are over 18. We can take them up to 21 because they try to keep as many kids out of ADC as possible. And ADC is the Adult Correctional Facility.
Is there a spiritual component of what y'all do?
Yes.
Do y'all have a chaplain?
We do. We have a pastor.
You do have a
He's
chaplain.
very, very cute. His
Very
name
cute.
is Mr. Whitfield.
It's your husband.
It is. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's our pastor.
And so what does he do in
He-
the Saline County program?
He coordinates volunteers to come in. All the churches and other organizations that wish to volunteer, it goes through him.
All right, let's talk about that.
Sure.
So he's the chaplain, so he's kind of over the spiritual component.
Yes, sir.
He's there to minister to any young person that
Yes, sir.
would like ministry. Is that only young men at that facility?
We have boys and girls.
Boys and girls?
Yes, sir.
I've actually spoken there.
Yes, that's right.
But I want to talk about how churches or individual Sunday school groups, civic organizations, what is the opportunities for them to be involved?
Well, as soon as COVID is over, they can come into the facility once a month, once a week, work with specific populations of kids. We usually do a sign-up system for churches and Bible studies.
Yeah.
We do have some Catholic ministers who come in. We do have some students that identify as Muslim and who worship Allah, so they also get services that they need. We have one student who's Buddhist, so Jawanza actually provides materials for him. So any of the spiritual needs at the site are met by Jawanza.
And the organization, though, has campuses, you said, all over the United States,
Yes,
and even
sir.
now into Hawaii.
Yes, sir.
What can people do locally right here in Central Arkansas, if not for COVID, and that this too shall pass?
It will. It's passing fast.
And as soon as that passes and people are able to get involved, but while they're not able to come on campus right now, what can volunteers do for y'all?
We would love donations, specifically Bibles. They're very wanted at the site, and the kids,
Young people ask for Bibles?
they do.
Can I tell you
Yes,
this?
absolutely.
That's absolutely a fact. And they say there's no atheist in a foxhole. When I got in trouble in Germany and I was sent to the Mainz jail, when I was being processed, the Spaniard processing me said this. He said, "Do you need anything?" And I said, "Can I have a Bible?" Now, I was an atheist,
Yes.
but I knew I was in serious trouble. And I started reading my Bible. And I started saying, "God, if you're there, I need help."
Yes.
And so y'all are seeing that here, not just here locally, but this is a need throughout the nation.
Yes, all of the facilities that I work with, sometimes I even take material from Jawanza because he knows some of the students.
Yeah.
So we provide Bibles. He does Bible studies with them. I pray with the kids.
Yeah.
Only if they request.
Yeah.
I also keep scripture cards in my desk. And if I have a kid that's having a really bad day, I'll offer them to them. And they'll take the scripture card, they'll read it, we'll talk about it. So anyone who wants to donate materials, scripture cards, Bibles,
We'll get some information on the
yes.
screen so they can do that.
that would be great.
You can make a difference. One way you can make a difference is donating a Bible. But more than anything, you can make a difference by praying for young people in care. We're going to take a brief break. We'll be right back. Have you ever considered a Christian education for your child? Then you should check out Arkansas Christian Academy, Saline County's fully accredited premier Christian school at an affordable family rate. Students have opportunities to excel in academics, athletics, fine arts, and technology. And through our dual enrollment program, high school students can even achieve an associate's degree prior to graduation. Visit us at arkansaschristianacademy.org.
Rite of Passage is a 35-year-old institution that has helped tens of thousands of youth improve their lives. My name is Ski Broman, and I represent Rite of Passage. You will work hard if you work here. You will work with difficult kids, but kids that need it the most.
You get to be a part of somebody else's life. You get to grow with them. You're a big uncle, you're a brother, you're a role model. You're something in that kid's life that might have been missing.
I feel like the work we do here is really important. I'm more than a coach. I'm a mentor, I'm an advocate, I'm a role model.
I enjoy the opportunity of making an impact, of changing the course of a child's life and giving them the opportunity to succeed in places that they didn't think were possible before.
Seeing these students walk across stage for validation or graduation, it touches my heart personally just because I spend a lot of time with each individual student.
The chance to get to interact with them on a daily basis is just incredible. Something that money can't really provide. The interactions and relationships that you build with the kids is something super beneficial. It's long lasting.
The reality is if you work at Rite of Passage, you will probably remember it as both the most difficult and the most rewarding job you've ever had.
You arrive here before the student athletes get up, and you leave after they go to sleep and you get relief from night staff.
Long hours, but it is rewarding at the end of the day. It's because you know that you're doing everything possible to help these youth to go back to their families.
You're not always going to be the nice person around here. Sometimes you have to be the authoritative person.
It's not a job you can do from Starbucks. It's not a job you can do virtual. It takes time. Being with these kids to develop trust and develop the relationships so you can teach them skills.
We're not just going to sit on the side and watch them.
consistently have to every day repeat, forgive, understand, and move forward. That's the only way you get the growth.
The work is hard, but the impact that you make with these kids is worth it.
I have absolutely built a career here. I've been here for over 6 years and had a couple different roles, and I can see myself continuing to grow.
Working with Rite of Passage, we love to promote within, and I've been promoted, and I see this being my career.
11 years ago, I started here as night staff, and now I'm a program director.
There's always rooms in the athletic department, there's rooms in the medical department, any field that I kind of want to venture off to.
I started out as a coach counselor, and Rite of Passage was very gracious in working with me to go back to school, earn my degree, and helping me do what I love. And I built my own program here.
I started 17 years ago as an entry-level coach counselor.
14 years. 9 years.
5 years.
2011.
Over 6 years.
6 years.
11 years.
Been here 9.5 years.
2 years.
12 years now.
That's what we hope employees get out of their time with us. This is a fantastic place to build a career, but to ultimately make a difference.
Hey, welcome back. In this program, we're talking to Dr. Martha Whitfield, who's with
Rite of Passage?
Rite of Passage, which
Yes,
is a
sir.
private organization.
Correct.
But dealing primarily with young men and young ladies, mostly under 21,
Yes.
that in many cases have been incarcerated.
Yes.
And your husband is the chaplain
Yes.
for the Saline County area, or does he
Yes.
cover more than that area?
Right now, just Saline County.
But he's a staff member with me here at Arkansas
Yes.
Christian Academy. When you guys served here, y'all got involved at Family Church Bryant.
We
A
did.
church alive is worth the drive. And you guys being new to the community, y'all ended up being planted here. You've been here now for 5 or 6
Almost
years.
6 years, yeah.
You were emergency and relief foster parents for Second Chance Youth Ranch. You made a connection with a couple of young ladies there. Y'all adopted them.
We did.
And one of them now is married and has a baby.
Yes, sir.
So Mimi.
Yes.
And while Mimi's not just being Mimi, you're being a mother figure, and your husband's being a father figure to young people in care
Yes.
that have been incarcerated.
Yes, sir.
Who need a second chance.
They do.
Who doesn't need a second chance?
They do.
I've used up my second chance. I might be on my 4th, 5th, or 6th. The righteous man falls 7 times, he'll rise again. Do you have a couple of stories, personal stories of young people in care that have been, in some cases, discarded by our society, and see how God's grace has touched their lives?
Yes. There's so many kids, so many stories. But one that really stands out for me is a student that we had for over 3 years. And when he came in, we were told that he was evil.
How old was he?
He was 16 at the time.
16.
That he was evil, and there was black in his eyes. You know, if you're with him, make sure you have someone else with him.
Yeah.
You know, all these warnings and protocols to keep everyone safe. Well, one day he was having a hard day, so I asked him to come in my office and rearrange my books, which was just a tactic to get him in and talking. So he came in, he's rearranging my books, and we're talking. And I realized that he just needed someone to love him.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just as simple as that.
He was angry for a reason.
He was so angry, and his background was he'd been through a very hard childhood and, you know, suffered a lot. So I actually, in our Sunday school group here, we lifted it up in prayer 3 or 4 weeks in a row, specifically for him to pass his GED, which was very hard for him.
Sure.
And after all that prayer, he passed his GED. He's doing really well. He's been moved to a different facility because he still has time to serve, but he's doing really well.
I was incarcerated, facing 6 to 10 years, and I just had a simple prayer as an atheist: God, if you're there, I need help.
Yes.
And man, October 26, 1972, did I get some help. And I rely upon that help to this day now, all these years later. It's a little different prayer. Instead of praying, God, I need help for me, now, God, I need help for me so I can help other people.
Right.
That kind of a familiar prayer where you're at?
Very familiar.
So what kind of vocation, we've got a couple of minutes, what kind of vocation equipping do y'all provide for young people so that when they get out, in our case, age out of foster care, but in your case, they're released and return to the community? What kind of support do y'all, what kind of training do you provide for them?
We do first aid and CPR. We have a building trades program where they can learn carpentry skills. We have a C-Tech program, which is telecommunications and copper wiring.
Great.
We do have a CNA program, but it's on hold right now because of the COVID. But we do have a CNA program. We do offer OSHA certification, and we do have an accredited high school that gets kids their diplomas, or we take them to the GED track and they can get their GEDs.
Yeah, the worst thing that happened is we were released out into the community, aging out of foster care or from incarceration, and it's hard to get a job.
Yes.
And you've got to have a skill.
Yes.
You know, and you're highly educated, and your husband is as well. You've got multiple degrees, as does Jawanza. Education's a really important thing, but we're living in an environment today in America where we need young people with trades, with skills, that are willing to work hard with their hands. And I saw something the other day. Someone came out of college owing over $100,000 and got an $80,000 a year job. Somebody else went into a trade, was making $150,000, had no student debt.
Yeah.
So we want to challenge you to get involved and get engaged in the community. Second Chance Youth Ranch TV exists to let you know there are opportunities for you to be involved. If you're not called to be involved with young people incarcerated, then why not help us help them before they are incarcerated?
Yes, absolutely.
But we must never see hurting people as castaways. Jesus came, He died for the sins of the world, and He is the God of the second chance, the third chance. He's the God of a covenant of love to 1,000 generations. If you're watching right now, would you take a moment and say a prayer for hurting young people right here in the state of Arkansas and the Victory Television Network viewing community? We believe the changing of a heart will change a destiny and not just an eternity. God bless you. Thanks for watching. We look forward to hearing from you right here at 2CYR-TV. We'll see you again next time right here. Bye-bye.